Live from Los Angeles. Welcome to Good Morning La La Land. I'm Dr. Erin.
Hi, I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jezza Moye. This is Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also available on Apple TV, Roku, and Twitch.
And it is Wealth Wednesday, hashtag Wealth Wednesday. We're going to talk about how to reclaim your mindset and skill set around wealth, money, prosperity, because there's only prosperity and abundance in this universe. We come together each day to know the truth, live on spiritual principle, and rock this world.
I love that.
Right?
Mindset and skill set. Yes.
Why not?
Now, hopefully that translates into dollars in my bank account.
That's the idea, yes.
That is the idea. Well, we have two very special guests in the house today who have done chat on hashtag Wealth Wednesday, living the spicy life. Good morning.
Morning.
Hey.
How's it going?
Oh, hey. It might be a rainy day, but they are hot in the studio, aren't they?
Absolutely.
We've got Mary in the house. She is the founder, CEO of The Spicy Life. What is The Spicy Life?
The Spicy Life is a relationship consulting firm. So we transform perspectives and fuel connections. We do everything from relationship coaching to matchmaking to life coaching. And so if you needed life transformation, you come to us.
I think she just scratched the surface of what
Yes,
she has.
yes, absolutely. And she has a phenomenal podcast that I was just on Dash Radio. It's called The Spicy Life.
No wonder he is the man whisperer.
Yeah.
That's why I had him in.
Well, tell us, how do you start your day? What's your morning routine like?
So I start my day just like I am right now. I have to have my cup of coffee. That's how I wake up. I love that you guys had music on because I need to dance. I'm so excited that I woke up in the morning, so I give my thanks to God. I have my affirmations that I tell myself before the world tells me things that are crazy. I got to feel my spirit first. And then I start getting right to work. I start communicating on behalf of my clients, reaching out, making sure that I reply to emails, and then I start matching.
Ooh.
Love it.
I'm excited to talk to her.
Yes.
And you know who else I'm
She's
excited
fun.
for? MJ Harris. Good morning, MJ.
Hey, hey, hey.
Well, I'm so excited for your insight on how to live my best life. But before we get to all of that, how do you live yours? What's your morning routine like, MJ?
So my morning routine is that I first wake up and I meditate. And my meditation, some people call it a prayer, is I just think to myself over and over again, what do I want? What do I want? Not what does the world want from me, not what should I think I should want, but what do I want without any limitation on it? And I get that locked into my mind. I get myself in the feeling of receiving it. Then I get out of bed and I launch into executing so that I can have that life.
Oh,
Preach.
he feels locked and loaded, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
He's locked and loaded right now. I love that.
You both touched on something so important, and that's starting your day with meditation. A lot of our very successful guests mentioned a very similar thing. I'm wondering, would you share with us what that affirmation is, or what really drives you to launch out of bed in the morning? Both of you.
Absolutely. So I'll say my meditation in the morning is what do I want, what do I want, what do I want? And if I'm struggling, what I tell myself is I say, everything that I desire is already here. I just need to walk in it. So I'm telling myself things that reinforce the mindset that's going to allow me to execute on what I want.
Mine is a scripture, Matthew 11. It's ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be opened for you.
Boom.
So
Damn.
I keep telling myself that. So I keep asking and I keep receiving.
Oh,
We've got some smart guests
Love
on the
it.
show today.
I'm
We're
so
definitely in alignment.
You're just what I needed today. Well, thank you both so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you more later in the show. And this, I have a rainy vibe mood today. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like past few days, it's like seasonal, whatever disorder.
Seasonal affective disorder.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so sad and gloomy with this, and there's so much to celebrate, like these incredible guests, our great community, but
I didn't realize how serious and how much the weather can affect your mood. Like when I was younger, it affected me all the time, and I just wasn't aware of it. And as I became older, I read about SAD, and I discovered that it was an actual real phenomenon.
Right.
So yeah, I love the sunshine, no question about it.
I went to bed at 9 o'clock last night, so
Did you?
apparently my body was like, yeah, something's not jiving here.
Yeah.
It's like, you need extra rest.
Yeah, totally. I think it's not really a coincidence why the Northeast is so productive, because when it's rainy and cold and dreary, you just sit inside and you might sleep a little bit, but then you just work.
What else can you do, right?
Totally.
Yeah. When is it going to end?
Friday. Apparently Friday.
I just was thinking this morning. I was like, I miss the little skirts and the little things we get to wear. I think that's I miss it already. I'm ready for spring already, and it's a long ways away.
hasn't stopped me. I don't know if you saw the extremely short dress I wore yesterday, but I've never been a practical person, even in the rain.
Yeah. Well, if worse comes to work, we can always take a flight to change the forecast.
This is true.
Ooh.
Very easy, very easy. So what's going on, you guys? What are you doing for this today?
Well, I'm very excited to announce that we are hosting the second Focus Beauty event on February 2nd. Our site is liveFocusBeautyEvents.com. We're taking reservations. You can book appointments from 10 till 6 p.m. I'm super, super pumped. There's going to be facials, the cryofacials, chemical peels for both, you know, the natural beauty and more of the advanced beauty gurus. Nice. Dr. Landon Pryor will be in from Chicago. He's a Beverly Hills certified plastic surgeon, and he'll be here doing some great deals on Botox fillers. And even there's this new treatment called a hand lift. Have you guys heard about this?
Hand lift?
No.
Wow.
People are getting, it's a Bellafill filler in their hands to make their hands look younger.
Well, that's apparently one of the first indications that you're aging, right, is the hands. I've heard.
Yeah, apparently. And I a lot of times use those like detox pads on the top of my hands. And so many of us have really damaged our skin getting our nails done, getting our hands put in the UV lights or driving. So it's all the rage to have a hand lift now.
Wow, interesting. So I've got to share something with you real quick about that.
A hand job, but not a hand lift.
Oh boy. Oh
Just
boy.
saying, I know it's a more important. I have to say that. I'm sorry.
Speaking of hands, my mom has incredible hands. My mom has incredible hands.
Keep going, Rob.
She doesn't
Keep
look.
going.
Yes, sticking to the script here. So she, and it's amazing because she looks as young as ever. I mean, my mom truly seems ageless. And that being said, she's worked her entire life and she's worked her butt off. And she's worked so hard, in fact, that she's rubbed the fingerprints off of her fingers. Yeah. So when she worked for the airlines, she'd go in to get fingerprinted. And she'd tell them, listen, I have no fingerprints. And they'd go to, and then nothing would show. Isn't it wild?
Wow.
She's some sort of angel.
Mom really is an angel.
Yeah,
right?
even though she doesn't need the anti-aging effects of the hand lift, perhaps she could get fingerprints back. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Well, she's more than welcome to join us. I'm super excited. We're going to have some really great VIP gift bags for our big spenders and some good referrals. So be sure to check out the site, slide into my DMs. I'll totally hook you up.
Yeah, it was a blockbuster event last time.
It was really fun. I'm excited.
What about you? What do you have for the rest of the
I've got clients. I'm actually have a couple meetings planned, a few production projects that are sort of in the works, and other than that, just enjoying the day. The rain. The good thing about the rain is that it is allowing me to push through on the books. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go walking around or spend too much time outside. I'll just sit down.
I remember turning off everything for because you go through edit after edit, turn off everything and clearing the schedule off for the week and you should just go check in a hotel.
Totally. That's the best kind.
Completely get out of it. Yeah.
I know.
I love that.
What about you?
We're shooting some onboarding videos because it's interesting when people come on as members of Society, it's confusing. They're like, where do I go? How do I get to the private page? How do I whatever? So you put it all in, but it's confusing for people. So we're shooting videos for that. Coming back to the studio to shoot with Amanda Russell, and I've got clients, and I'm going out to a beautiful dinner tonight. So but I also want to give a shout out. I'm speaking the 26th downtown. Badassery magazine is doing a body love. So they're doing a photo shoot, loving your body exactly the way it is and celebrating different shapes and different sizes and ages and all the above. And then what else going on? I don't know. Just all kinds
I do want to send a little love to Liz Carlisle for featuring me on her Motherhood Unstressed podcast. We're going to have her on the show, I think, next month. So
and you know who's going to be on the show tomorrow?
Who?
One of our favorite intuitives, America's Intuitive.
Yes.
And she's British. Joanna Garzilli is going to be in the house tomorrow. She's going to give us a taste of our spiritual forecast for the rest of the year and even do a little tarot reading.
Yes.
I love her.
She's so sweet.
She's just a really sweet, amazing woman.
And talented.
Very talented.
Absolutely. And she's got a great show here at Focus TV Network called Life Stories. She's had some incredibly inspiring guests come through, but we're really excited that she'll be here sharing her time and intuition with us.
One of the things I just want to mention, one thing, I think it's probably a good segue. I loved what she said. Joanna shared a little bit of her experience around money at your Soul Society event, and I thought it was so profound. And she was basically speaking to the entire world and saying, hey, so many of us seek money or want to make money or spend money because we lack self-esteem, right? And she, I think she spoke to that really well, and that sort of brings us to the topic today, right?
I think it's, I think that money is such an interesting thing, and in our culture, in America, it's a big, big conversation. We're obsessed with this whole thing, and I am committed so much in my spiritual community and in the spiritual world to have people have breakthroughs, especially for women. We need major breakthroughs. And metaphysically, we are so powerful that the minute we even consider money to be more powerful than us, we instantaneously take our own powers away. We experience being disempowered. And so it is just such a fascinating thing. So just diving into it, we've talked a lot. There's a Princeton study that basically says that yes, money does bring happiness up to $75,000, and then beyond that, it doesn't necessarily equate to happiness. But I think the point is this: is if we're going to have, spiritual freedom, if we want, choices, options, we need to master money, and it's something we just have to do.
I think the key right there is freedom that you mentioned. It's the freedom to say no when you want to not have to accept a job that you don't want to take, or a relationship, or a living circumstance, because you have personal freedom with that $75,000.
Which is interesting, because I think that one of the quandaries, because as you dive into the subconscious work, dealing with trauma, limiting beliefs, identity around money, you also dive into one of the biggest quandaries is people want freedom. They have one goal of having financial freedom, but then they've got another goal of they have to hustle to get there, right? So the key is to live in alignment with something that you love, so that you're not stressed out about the hustle. You love the hustle. Oh my gosh,
totally.
Right?
It is about loving the grind, and also recognizing that to love the grind is to make the grind obsolete. It's no longer a grind. It's just, and so I think that's a huge point for me to remember. I think a lot of us consider the world to be a meritocracy, and it's really not. It's the harder you work, the more you make. No, that's not true.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's you only need one great idea to be successful. You only need one great idea to make a ton of money, and it doesn't have to come through hustle.
But what if you're sitting on your knees praying, where is my one great idea? What do you do in that moment?
Where you're kind of blocking it, right? So the challenge in the opportunity really around coming up with a creative idea is to relax and let go a little. And if you can do that, you'll find that you're instantaneously more creative, productive, profitable, efficient, effective in your thinking.
So let's say you have let go. Let's say you have made the decision to be abundant, like Dr. Erin was saying, and then you do have your doubts. And at the top of the segment, you had mentioned anytime you have that doubt, then you're giving that power back to the universe. That's a really scary thing to say, because it's natural in the human condition to have doubts, to have fears. So if we're having this power shift back and forth with, I have the power. Oh wait, no, the money has the power. Oh wait, no, I have the power. I mean, how do you deal with that seesaw?
Unfortunately and fortunately, we were endowed with free will and choice, and that's the choice, is to always live in that balance of being the effect, or an experience being the effect, or being the cause. And yeah, that's the daily spiritual. That's why I feel like business development and money development is a spiritual development. I mean, it's all the same, and that you've got to constantly go back. And I know for me, that was what drove me to this work, because I was like, I know that I can do this, but why am I still going back into the ways that I know are not benefiting me? And it was like, I have to be so disciplined in my mind and master my mind. If you can't master money if you can't master your mind. It's impossible.
It's true.
Right?
It's so true. It's such a beautiful and profound question, Jessalyn, and a really poignant response, I think, Erin. And I would, add to that. At the end of the day, I do think that stress and worry, concern, and doubt is normal, but I don't think it's natural, right? So, almost all of nature is perfectly blissful and at peace, except for man and womankind, right? And that we talked about that actually on the Spicy Life podcast, that it's really the prefrontal cortex, there's later development in the sort of evolution of the brain that's led to all this stressful thinking and worrying and doubt and concern. But it's that stressful doubt, worry, and concern that really blocks your ability to get into alignment with who you truly are, and to sort of experience your natural state, which is not one of stress and anxiety and worry, but is actually one of perfect peace.
Right, but that's the beauty, is we get to have discernment, and that is what is beautiful. If we didn't have those negative thoughts, then we wouldn't know what we want versus what we don't want, and that's the joy of all of it, is we get to figure that out.
It's the contrast of life, right?
Yeah.
It is the contrast of
Amazing.
life. Yeah.
Can't enjoy money if you don't have, unless you experience not having money generally.
This is true. This is true. The bitter does make the sweet that much sweeter. And I would say too that early in my professional sort of journey, I discovered that I couldn't go, even though I wanted to go right to making a ton of money at what I loved, I had to do some other things at the same time in order to just relieve me of the stress and anxiety around the money, so that I could do what I wanted to do from a place of purity. It was just authentic and pure, and it wasn't from a place of desperation or need. That helped me ramp up a little bit, and then once I started to get the momentum going, I could sort of convert all of my energy back to the thing that I love the most. everybody has a different sort of practice and process for that, but I did find that a little helpful in the beginning.
For sure,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But anyway, so money. So the thing is breaking through and really looking at what limiting beliefs you have, where you've handed your money, your basically your energy and thoughts over to thinking money is more powerful than you. We go through inventory, taking your inventory, really getting in alignment with your truth, and then basically looking at what it is, what's that quandary, what's getting in your way. You know, some people want one goal, but they want another goal, and those are basically like counteracting each other. So getting clear and really living in alignment so that it's all authentic.
Yeah.
Right.
And what do you guys think too about, I think there's a slight difference between, let's say, money and supply, right? And so I think of money as one manifestation of supply. But I like to think in a deeper way about abundance in general. And
Yeah,
I think,
totally.
right?
Well, first of all, let's just face it, money is completely worthless. In fact, it's not only
You can't eat
worthless,
it.
it's actually, we owe debt on it. So it's actually, money is actually, like, get over that whole thing. You can exchange through many different ways. Money is one way. There's
Yes.
many ways of exchanging.
Yeah.
The universe only knows abundance. Period.
Totally.
End
And
of
I
story.
think both of you are really incredible role models, and of course, in addition to Andy Waldman sitting there, in terms of what it means to embody an understanding of true abundance, right? Because if you make it only about money, you'll never feel abundant. It's like trying to get a loan and having no assets.
Right. I
It's
talked
like,
about
you
with
know,
the show, and someone asked about the show and like, how's it all working? What's the budget? And I'm like, it's the most amazing thing to witness this whole thing, because there's an exchange of energy that happens with every single guest, and how it's able to take a form, you know, way outside of the traditional way of monetizing. Like, there's so many benefits, and I mean, you experience that every day, Jazz. Like,
yeah, she's
I mean,
really
you could write a
master
book on that.
manifestor in that way. You
Right?
are. You're a master
I mean,
manifestor
honestly.
in that way, Jasmine.
No, I am very, very grateful for the ways in which I've received abundance, especially with this past year, whether, you know, it's incredible swag bags at some beautiful events, or services in exchange, and hair and clothes and things like that. Whenever I had a need for something outside of money, it was provided to me.
Yeah.
And it really was a lesson in faith and trusting the universe that I will be taken care of.
So that's the highest teaching.
huge.
Yeah,
and
highest
that's
teaching.
That, and it's
Highest
that
teaching.
it's having that experience over and over again that's
Yeah.
allowed me to let go of trying to always dictate or even clarify what it is I want in life. I love what MJ says, and I think that's incredibly powerful. And I also think it's really powerful to completely let go of what you want and let the universe deliver something bigger and better than what you could possibly imagine
it's
for
trying to
yourself.
deliver it outside
Yeah.
of the money realm,
Yeah.
like in a way that you had no idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's incredible. It happens
Like if
all
you
the time.
wrote down, I just like think about how much if you wrote down your whole lifestyle and everything it would take to pay for that. Like, can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, actually, I can't imagine. You know what I really look forward to? I really look forward to the day when that abundance can flow directly through me, and that I can be the giver. I'm so excited.
It's
about that.
already,
giver. You're
that's
already
happening
the
all
giver.
day, every day, Jeslyn. All day, every day.
Maybe with my time and kindness,
Yeah.
but I want to give
You
like
showcase so many
homes, and I
Yeah.
want to give clothes and services and trips, and honor all of the incredible gifts I've received. I want to give back.
Yeah. Have you ever considered that what you give now is more valuable than all those things?
No. I mean, yes, the answer should be yes, of course.
It's more valuable.
That's
It's
hard to
more
really
valuable.
believe about yourself.
Sure. But time is the most precious commodity on earth. You can't buy more. You can't sell it. It's the most, and it's the only appreciating asset truly on earth. Infinitely appreciating. The more you spend, the less you have, and the more it's worth. So your time and your energy is more precious and more valuable than anything else on the planet. Anything else you could possibly give.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can always get more money. You can't save time and earn compound interest off the time you save. You can't do it. Money you can.
True.
But
There you have it.
Anyway.
Mic drop. So on that
I'm all
note,
worked up today.
we
I gotta chill.
are
I gotta chill.
committed to have you claim your birthright of prosperity, and it literally is a shift in mind. It's a decision. Understanding the mindset and the skill set, and we'll get into that another day.
Yes.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
thank you for tuning in to the Model Mama Show. I'm your host, Tara Tenner, and Shelton, we are signing off. Thanks, bye.
Beautiful.
I'm so glad to have you. Thank you.
I feel so lucky. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Cheers. Here's to a good Friday night. Thanks, Michelle, and I will see you again next time.
And thank you everyone for joining in. This has been another episode of Mind, Body, Spirit, and I'm Dr. Kate.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys live your best life. Peace out. Peace out.
And thank you for watching the LA Home Show, where we discuss all things real estate, interior design, and much, much more.
We'll see you next time. You're watching Passion to Paycheck on the Focus TV network.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next time.
So I'm your host, Serena Poon, and thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
And if you want to binge watch these videos, they will be on Focus TV network. Check that out. We will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I greatly appreciate your service.
It was an honor to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for this episode of Purpose. I am your host, Brittany Zonker, and I will see you next time. It's been such a treat to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love you.
Erin Ziering, Millennial Moms, the best blogger parent out there.
Thank you.
Aww. Thanks guys for watching.
All right, thanks guys for watching. You're watching The Ren Wood Show on Focus TV Network. We'll see you next time.
Until next time, guys, on Focus TV Network, sipping that tea where we sip
Yes,
that tea
and our guest spirit. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Well, thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time on Moms Matter.
Thank you for listening, and DM us, follow us on social media.
Charo, baby!
I appreciate your time today. Casey Montoya, you are a woman warrior.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for letting me talk about this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's so sweet.
Thank you to the Focus TV studios for another great episode, and I'll see you guys next time.
We are Good Morning LALALAND, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And you can listen to all your favorite interviews available as a podcast on iTunes.
That's right. We're waking up the world together. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and check out these amazing, amazing people.
It's going to be a Good Morning LALALAND.
Well, thank you so much for watching and for listening to Celeb CEOs with Rachel McCord. This is Erin Kerman, and we've got Jax, and tell me her name one more
Lucy.
time. Lucy in the studio making lots of fun noises. Mwah, we love you. Tune in next time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, thanks.
Spicy Mara is in the house. We're going to talk about love, relationships, consulting. How do you consult on love?
It's coaching. But what I do is I have a spicy assessment. So it's a method based on the 5 fundamentals that you need for any healthy relationship.
Okay, let's do it right now.
Okay.
We got to do this.
It's self, passion, intimacy, communication, learning to say yes.
Which
Spicy.
equates to
Spicy.
There you go.
Okay, so let's do this.
But it's
Can you
140
ask us?
questions.
Okay, forget it. Never mind.
on the 3-hour special of Good Morning LALALAND.
Do you want to do the 140 questions?
We want to know about you. We want to know your personal journey to coming to this place of helping people transform their love life, and also how the hell everyone is figuring out their relationships.
We'll start with you then. Okay, so take us back. What was your life prior to becoming a relationship expert?
So before I was an expert, I was naturally, and it came organically to me, matchmaking. So since I was a little girl, my mother was married multiple times, 3 to be exact. And I knew that she would be depressed. There was a void in her life. And somehow whenever I saw a man, I saw her energy shift. So as a little girl, I absorbed and was like, oh, men make mommy happy. Going up to men in the grocery store, setting her up on dates. I'll be a good little girl. And my mom was scoring. Like, she was making out like a bandit because of me. And needless to say, 3 marriages are the only ones that she accepted, okay? But along the way, I was naturally setting up friends and coaching, giving relationship advice. And then while I was in school getting my communications degree, I understood this was one of the major, issues when it came to breakdowns in relationships. And then I went and became a certified dating coach. And then when I got my master's in communication as well. And then that's when I developed the spicy fundamentals so that I knew, okay, what areas to pinpoint in order to help coach people. So before I set you up and match you, I coach you for 3 months. It's an intensive program.
So important.
So I'm really curious though, because you're setting up everyone else in your life. What about you?
I practice what I preach. So I have a husband. We've been married a year.
Congratulations.
And we are very happy. Thank you. But I use him as my guinea pig. So anything spicy that I tell my clients to do, because what I also do is like add and infuse adventure back into their life. We find out what their passions are, and then we relive those passions again. And if you tell me your fears, we're working those out as well. Don't tell me you're afraid of heights because we're going skydiving. Like, I'm helping you live your best life so that way you're happy, which is important, happiness coach, so that I can match you. It makes my job a lot easier when you're happy.
Right, I think it's so brilliant because so many people are on dating apps and doing everything, and they're just like, they're thinking that if they just meet that one person, but it's really like, you need to kind of look at yourself and see why it is that like everything, you're either kind of getting a little codependent or you're just projecting crap into your relationship or whatever. So that's what you deal with when you're working with them for 3 months?
Yes, absolutely. So we're tackling all those 5 elements of SPICY, and the assessment lets me know what areas we need to strengthen, but then our interaction, I meet with you weekly, and then I also take you out for excursions, I'm sending you on mock dates, and so I'm working with you and then getting a report back every single time that you go out and I give you a challenge, and then I'm also playing wingman. So it is the modern day Hitch, and I do use technology as well, so I'm not going to invent the wheel. There's amazing apps out there, there's amazing websites. However, if you are somebody who doesn't know self and you don't know how to communicate, then you're going to present not your best self online. So I actually teach you what's the best forms of communications. I call them spice breakers. And so that's what our opening is when it comes to introducing ourselves to a man for the first time and swiping.
Okay, so how should we really introduce ourselves the first time, whether it's electronically or in person?
So just like you would for your career, right? Have a 30-second elevator speech. It's the same thing when you're preparing for meeting that one or that person. You want to present your best, self. And so
with an elevator pitch.
With an elevator
This sounds like a lot of work.
Who are you?
Can you just read my Insta
and what do you have to offer? So everybody, that's how we pull you in, and we're going to ask you something that most people at the bar, or most people when you're out at a mixer or wherever it is that you meet them, aren't going to ask. So if I were to ask you, so what's your favorite superhero? If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah,
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
So, like, most women aren't coming up to you asking you that, and most men aren't coming up to you and asking you, what's your love language? So that's how you're going to get someone's attention. You're going to strike conversation asking things that they're not used to hearing.
This all sounds great, but I think I would be dead before I'd walk up to a man in a bar and say, "Hi, I'm Jasmine. What's your love language?" I
hear that all the time.
I don't feel like that's going to be received well.
By me, it would be. But I'm also a little different.
Yeah, you're a deep man.
Yeah.
You're a deep person.
I love the question. I do.
Yeah, I do love the question. I would love to be able to go and ask that. But let's be honest, a lot of people in my generation don't even pick up a phone.
Right.
And
Texting is the number one form of communication. Yeah.
So to go straight to the heart like that seems a little bit like too much.
I love and that's a great point. And I would say one of the things I love about the idea and the theme is that it is about taking risks.
It's risk.
I guess that is rolling the dice.
Hit it on the money.
I like that. I like that.
Hit it on the money.
For a spicy life, you gotta take.
Because love is embarrassing. You have to take risks if you want to get to know that person. And if you think, okay, I'm not going to go up to that person and say, what's the worst that can happen? Always think about the best and the worst case scenario. And if the worst case scenario is being, rejected or your feelings getting hurt, great. We got through that really quick so that we can move on to the next. It's not you, great, on to the next. I actually appreciate rejection and try to teach my clients to understand that it's not necessarily rejection and someone saying, I don't want you. It's saying you're not the best person for me and let me not waste my time. You guys were talking about time earlier. It's important.
You've seen it all, you see the test. What do you think is the the number one thing that you think this person probably, like you see people that actually match up and it works. What is that common denominator of what works?
Core values. Core values are the common denominator. Everybody comes in with their laundry list of what she looks like and what he looks like, and I'm like, okay. Tell me about the spirit. Tell me about the heart. What are your values? And we're going to work from there. And so I have my clients create a pizza for me. And by pizza, it's like, what's the crust? What's the foundation? What's the cheese? And then, I'm sorry, what's the crust, what's the sauce, and what's the cheese? And so you give me those three things, and then we can work on the toppings, how that person looks later.
So true.
But we got to have that foundation there first.
And most people don't even know what their values are.
No.
Right.
It's amazing.
Most people don't know self. Self-awareness and just knowing self is the number one thing that I see when it comes to my clients coming to me for the first time.
Which is such a spiritual thing, right?
Yes.
Like, how, I mean, it's all this work is, you get deeper and deeper, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're getting down to our core beliefs, which is, you know, so spiritual.
And then you guys mentioned finances earlier. I have extremely successful people who are coming to me that are winning in their career and in their, you know, job, and you know, they're extremely successful, but they haven't figured out how to build a relationship when it comes to their romantic life. They know how to network, they just don't know how to meet that person.
Isn't that interesting? So what do you find is the root cause of that?
That has to do with intimacy. What they're willing to share, how vulnerable they're willing to be. Trust. A lot of people come in with trust, you know, issues or baggage. A lot of stuff is coming from their childhood, and so there's a lot of walls that have to break down just to make you the, you know, your best version of yourself. I believe in you. The toughest part is getting my clients to believe in themselves. So if you don't believe in yourself, how are we going to get somebody else to believe in you, you know, and that this could be
the vulnerability,
the right
I
relationship.
think is so key, and I think what you hit on it, like, I think that everyone wants it to be easy and da-da-da, but it's like, where do we go to that place where, because all this out here, career, friends, whatever, nothing can touch on that intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just go, it's just too hard, and we're just going to put it to the side, because it's easy to just have all your friends and have all your love and have all this life out here. But it's such a missing, you know, and I think for a lot of us, it's got to be a huge missing. Like, relationships, the stats are going down for people that are in relationship, and it's so sad.
Yes. There's Baskin-Robbins 31 flavors out there. You have so many options that to, you know, meeting people or going online or swiping. We have so many options, we don't know who to choose. So we try everything, and then while we're in that date or with that person, the moment they do something that we're not crazy about, on to the next. I go home and I start swiping and don't even absorb and live that experience because you're already thinking about who you're going to replace them with within matters of seconds.
Wow, it's so true. I'll never forget a class I took on choice, Paradox of Choice by Barry Schwartz, and he wrote a follow-up book about it. And it's just so profound because he was mostly at the time, well, he was probably talking about everything, but in my very young college mind, I was just thinking about the strawberry jam example that he used, and like later I came to realize that it's just as true with, you know, jobs and careers and relationships and whatnot. And what would be your advice for someone who maybe is experiencing a paradox of choice issue in their relationships or in their social life, and they're just finding that either they are always constantly comparing, or they've created this perfect ideal version of someone that basically has combined all the best positive traits of all the people they've ever met, and this, of course, perfect ideal person doesn't exist. You know, they want the shy person who's also outgoing. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like, okay.
They want the humble person who's extremely successful.
The rich person likes to hang out all day.
Right.
The sensitive man that can defend your honor. I do believe in the 80-20. I think that it is very possible to get majority of what you want. What are you willing to sacrifice? And so that's why we Build-A-Bear in my program. And by Build-A-Bear, I mean, you give me the things that you want. Give me the things that you want versus the things that you need. And then we dissect why you want those things and where that's coming from. Is that coming from society? Is that coming from your parents, what you saw growing up? Because oftentimes you'll find that what you want isn't what you need. And so that helps when navigating, because now I give you this compass, and so when you meet someone and you have your roadmap, you're like, oh no, I'm going the wrong direction, let me make a U-turn and go that route.
Oh, it's such a good point. Hasn't anyone seen Weird Science? Don't you remember that movie? They tried to build a girlfriend and it didn't go so well. It was a mess.
This is so fun that you get to do this from, don't you think?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I think this is brilliant, and we've had a lot of matchmakers, and they're great, but I think that you've got to do this core work with people.
You have to do the core work,
You have to do this, and it's how fun, like, to matchmake and do everything.
I love it. It brings me so much fulfillment, and I want other people to feel that way about their career, about their personal lives. And And so, you know, oftentimes people are coming in with, you know, these expectations, and they have a completely different outlook by the time that they're done.
This is the next level of online dating. I truly believe that you've got to go, and you're like, do I want to go out with this person? Have they gone through this program? Yeah.
Right.
Let's see, right?
That's what I'm hoping for.
Access Hollywood. Who else agrees? Lots of folks agree.
Oh, like what I've appeared on,
Yes.
it's like Access Hollywood, Basketball Wives has had me on Beach One. Oftentimes
BuzzFeed.
coaching.
Oh, and
BuzzFeed,
I mean,
yes.
just to name
Yeah.
a few. I want to take it full circle, though.
Okay.
And create an elevator pitch. How would one do that? If we've done our work and we're ready to put ourselves on that 31 list of flavors or whatever it is, how do we craft that elevator pitch for ourselves?
So it starts with who you are. Okay, so you're gonna write who are you? What embodies your personality? You know, are you defined by your culture? Are you defined by your career? No, let's find out what defines you. Who are you? What makes you tick? What personality traits would you give yourself? After we know who you are, and we work on self for a long time, so by the time we're done, you know who you are. But then we decide, you know, what you want, and then we go into what you have to offer. And so, because you can't just ask for something without exchanging, and that's the hard part for people, is that they have these, like I said, expectations, but what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to give in exchange for the vulnerability, you know, in exchange for someone's heart? What are you willing to give? And a lot of times we try to separate and compartmentalize our career from our romantic relationships. But if you took the same approach that you did with your career, with your romantic relationships, what do you do when you want to work somewhere? You research the company, you know, you look at what their culture is, you know, what their values are, is in alignment with yours.
So
and
get
you
a
submit your
background
resume.
check on your date.
But if you went into a bar, you said you wouldn't start with, you know, what's your love language. But a lot of people, you know, if the CEO for the company you wanted to work for was sitting right there, you would go right up to him and pitch yourself. But when it's romantic or, you know, relationship involved, we're like, oh no, he needs to come to me. What? No.
That's true. Solid point.
It's a good point too. When I worked at the consulting firm in a former previous life, one of the partners actually said to me in one of our very first conversations, Rob, how do you know when someone likes you? And I was like, that's an interesting, slightly odd question to ask right off the bat. And I remember thinking, I guess if they touch me and they tell me that they do. So then an hour went on, we had this conversation. At the end of the conversation, we're going out the door, he gave me this big hug, a little extra long, and he said, Rob, I really enjoyed our conversation, I like you. And it hit me like a ton of bricks in a way that it couldn't have hit me had he not done those two things. Yeah. Right? And so it's so powerful for not just your romantic relationships, but in your professional life. And the elevator pitch too, I'd imagine, is something that you might massage the language a little bit around, but it's the same elevator pitch for your professional life as it is in your personal life.
Absolutely. It's just more focused on, you know, what you want as far as your future is concerned in your romantic, but it's the exact same thing. I mean, we're just going to shift some words around a little bit and not sound like super salesy.
So what was your elevator
we
pitch
practice.
to your husband? You practice all your spicy things on him. What was your pitch to him?
So I am Spicy Mari. That instantly gets them. Spicy Mari, where does that name come from? Well, actually, a relationship consulting firm, and I'm a professional matchmaker, and I'm Black and Mexican, so, you know, I really appreciate, you know, people who are open-minded about, you know, trying new things and learning about new cultures, and I would really just enjoy if we were able to go to the movies.
Wow. Love that. Yeah.
Now
I'd go to the movies with you.
To a spicy movie.
So I know our audience really wants to know how they can learn more. They want to know where they can find you, and they also want to know about the event that we've got planned. So talk to us a little bit about
you are
that.
going to be one of our keynote speakers. The Spicy Life has a self-love summit coming up. So self is the first part of SPICY, but oftentimes we have to break down that self-love component a lot of people are without. And so we're focusing an entire workshop, an entire day dedicated to self-love. There's activities, exercises, we're gonna role play. And so you are gonna walk out of there with new friends, but we're gonna have Mr. Robert over here speaking as well about happiness and self-love. And so that's coming up. We're supposed to be at Porsche mid-February. And so they can go to thespicylife.com for tickets. And we're going to give a little journal too so that they can remember everything that they learned in that course. So, spicylife.com.
Thank you so much for all your work.
And where can everyone find and follow your journey?
Oh, you guys can go to Spicy Mari, and you guys can go to thespicylife.com once again. So follow me on Instagram or Twitter.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Appreciate
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. I hope you have.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah.
Live from Los Angeles, we are back. If you are ready to let go of your past and embrace your future, MJ Harris will take you all the way. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a complete honor to be here.
Right?
Love having you.
You have quite the bio. You global speaker, featured by Oprah, KTLA 5. Host, and you run a couple companies, media. What's up? You're a little bit
I'm working hard. Let me tell you. But here's the thing. I say I grew up too poor to go through life without attracting abundance, and you can't just think about abundance. You've got to be willing to work and execute on it, and that's what I've done.
Take us back though through your personal journey and when you really realized maybe you weren't in alignment with your truth in embracing your abundance.
So I want you to picture this. I was in my early 20s. Okay, although I look like I'm in my early 20s now.
This was yesterday.
And so I was working for a consulting firm. I was making so much money. I had the condo, the nice car, and I was miserable, sitting in traffic every day to go to a job, to work with people I didn't want to work with, and do work that didn't matter to me. And I said, listen, I cannot do this for the next 40 years. There's got to be a different way to live. And so for me, what that sprung me into action to thinking about was, well, what can I do different? I didn't know what different was, but I knew that I needed different. And so I started looking for different options, started talking to people, and eventually I found my path into financial services, and that led somehow into the path of motivational speaking, and it has just been absolutely explosive. I think when you go with the flow of whatever the universe, God, however you want to think about it, is telling you, I think that there's just an abundance that you're going to keep on attracting in. It's going to be bigger than you could imagine.
Yes, yes, yes.
Totally.
Did you ever not listen to that?
Oh, absolutely. That's how I ended up at the consulting firm. So, you know, the crazy thing is, when I was 18, right, I got my first literary agent, and I wrote a Christian devotional book. It was a daily devotional book for teenagers. It didn't get signed. I got discouraged, so I said, I need to do a traditional path, because, you know, with failure, sometimes we say, I need to do something different. And so I said, okay, I need to do a traditional path. So I went through college, and I went to get a consulting job. And that was me not listening to it. And so I was so attracted to the money. I was so attracted to what everyone else was doing and trying to replicate them, but I was miserable along the path.
So tell us about Oprah, the life you want.
So it's so crazy because I was operating in flow. I was sitting at my computer.
I love that we just talked about this.
Yes,
operating in flow.
It's all about flow, isn't it?
All about flow.
And I was sitting at my computer one day, and I got an email from you know, it's like a mass email from Oprah, and it said, I'm coming to town on tour. And so I said, oh, that'd be great to go there. But then I saw another email about Beyonce coming to town. I'm like, I choose.
That's a tough one.
And so I said, well, I'm going to go see Oprah. Beyonce will be back. I don't know if Oprah's going to be doing a tour again. And so I went to Oprah. Literally, I was sitting on the 13th row. This gets me in tears. I was sitting on the 13th row, and I said, I don't want to sit all the way back here. So I just snuck up and sat on the second row. I happened to be sitting right behind Miss Winfrey. And so she was going to the bathroom on a commercial break, and then she was walking by. She was wearing these big old black frames. And, you know, I'm not too starstruck, thankfully. And I said, Professor Oprah. And she looked at me, And she put her hand on my shoulder and says, "Hi, how are you?" We started talking. I told her my story, and then she said, "I'm going to feature you." So she goes up, and bam. So when I woke up that morning, I did not know that Oprah was going to feature me. She didn't know either, but I'll tell you, when you operate in flow, Flo sent me to that chair, Flo led me to speak to Oprah, and Flo got me a national platform as a result. Yeah.
Incredible.
Truth.
Yes.
So how did that really change and transform your life?
You know what it did for me? It wasn't so much about the Oprah effect of being on the stage. What it was about was being able to be in front of all those people and have them react to my story, react to my positivity, react to my reaction to Flo. And what that showed me was, I said, exactly the same reaction I'm getting within this audience is almost a micro, it's like a sample of what I can get globally if I keep doing the same thing. So that's what it was for me. It was like a sample at the grocery store. I like that. I said, "This is Flo. If this is what Flo can get me, I'm gonna keep on doing this."
It's like confirmation.
It was confirmation.
Yeah. That whole demonstration where it reflects back exactly how you feel, what you want. You're like, yeah, I want more of that.
More of this. Oh yes, I got addicted to Flo.
Yeah, and it is an entire paradigm shift, isn't it? Because the way, and it doesn't just have to do with the way you do one thing. It has to do with the way you do everything.
Yes.
Right? So can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I know that when I initially joined the consulting firm, and I love the consulting firm, and I love the work that they do, it just wasn't in perfect alignment with me. But when I initially joined the consulting firm, I had this idea that it was all about working as hard as humanly possible and doing things by the book as much as I could, and that would eventually lead to something that was happy and healthy and wealthy. And I discovered that wasn't true, and that led me to, have this paradigm shift that was with a focus more on alignment.
Yes.
So how did you get around to realizing that it was about alignment and ease and flow and grace, and not just killing yourself at things you hate?
You know, it's so funny because you mentioned something earlier when you said, I was up there saying, amen, amen, when you said life is not a meritocracy. We have this belief that if we work hard and we push hard and if we hustle, we're going to get more. The richest people I know don't work very hard, okay? They're operating in flow, and they hire other people who can operate in their flow, and it comes together and creates lots of. So for me, I started to see that working in consulting. I started to see that just as I started to put myself in different circles. And I think that the key for me was I had to change what I was exposing myself to. If I only put myself around people where their reality and their paradigm was hustle, 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 work hard, then that's what I was going to do. But I said, I need to put myself around people who are living like where I want to get to. So I started intentionally joining nonprofits to be on boards. I started intentionally putting myself around people who were operating at a level that I wanted to live at. And I saw similarities, and I said, well, there's one big similarity here. Folks are operating in flow, people are utilizing their gifts, and they're leveraging their gifts and other people to create these wonderful businesses that create lots of wealth for them.
Oh, fantastic. I love that. So at this point, what would you say, what have been the highlights of your career, in addition to the Oprah moment?
Yeah.
What have been the highlights?
So I am so fortunate. I have highlights every day. So I would say that when my team grew past 1,000 people, right? So I want you to think about this. In order to move out of consulting, I got an insurance license, right? And I said, let me just try this as a way to earn some extra money. My grandmother had been selling insurance since the early 80s. I said, well, she can teach me something. Got my insurance license. I started selling it from my dining room table. I'd be on the phones, and I would do the insurance, right? I said, I'm a good salesman. I'm an excellent recruiter. So I said, let me try recruiting people. Let me try recruiting people. It exploded. Wow. Within less than 5 years, we've added over 1,300 people. So when we got to the 1,000-person mark, I said, this is amazing. I think we can go to 100,000 or 1 million people. I know it. That's the goal. That's what we're heading towards. But for me, that was sort of a moment for me to be able to say, wow. It was like that Oprah moment where I could say, this is just a taste. I want more. That was a big thing. Oprah was huge. I would say coming to LA and moving here was a big deal for me. There was something in my spirit that kept on saying, LA, 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 gotta get to LA. So I opened an office not too far from here in Century City, and I said, let me just come here every 6 weeks. I started coming every 6 weeks. I met someone on one of my trips here. That's what got me the KTLA gig. And I kept coming back, and I meet wonderful people like Rob, and it just has been abundance overflowing for me. So moments like that, meeting you has been a highlight, really, because it's just yet another confirmation of when you operate in flow, abundance will literally be attracted to you.
Tell us about KTLA.
So at KTLA, I do a segment called Money Smart. I should be going there right after here. And what I do is I answer viewers' questions. They write in and they say, MJ, help me around any financial or life matter. And I go ahead and I give them help right there on air. In 3 minutes, I change their life.
Yes.
Wow.
We're friends with quite a few people. Please give Christina a big hug for me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's your top tip for getting in alignment?
My top tip for getting in alignment is to make sure that every single day you ask yourself, what do I want? What we have to understand is that the desires of our heart are truly the voice of God, the universe, however you want to view it, speaking to you.
Thank you.
You know? And once you can get into alignment with just simply saying, what do I want? Not what does the world want for me? Not what should I want? Not should I feel guilty about wanting this? No. What do I want unapologetically? It may be hard at first, but as you do it daily and throughout the day, you will find it becomes easier and easier and easier. And that puts you in flow, because once you're clear about what you want, you can be clear about what you don't want. So when there's a distraction, whether it's a person, a thing, this isn't in alignment with what I want. Let me push this over. You know, and so that's the biggest thing.
It's such a poignant remark, because I would say that in my life, that one of the greatest trials and triumphs in my spiritual journey was coming to understand that, or believe that, God's will for me was perfect happiness. Right? Because once you believe that, then you can trust that every desire you have is a desire that God would have you would fulfill. You know, so I just love that. What is your desire, your highest desire for yourself at this point? What do you want?
My highest desire for myself is to live in such a way that when I go to my grave, I go to my grave empty. That every single gift, every single dream, every single anything that's been put inside of me has been poured out. I do not want to go to my grave and say, he could have done more. I think I could have done more. No. I want to go to my grave empty. And I don't limit myself to one goal where it's like, well, I want to make 100 million, 10, whatever it is. I don't limit myself to that, because if I say 100 million, what about the billionaires out there waiting on me? If I say I want this kind of relationship, well, what about a better relationship? So I don't limit myself. I'm more around the intention of just giving my best and receiving the best that the universe has for me.
Oh, I love that. Better to wear out than rust out, right?
Absolutely. I love that.
You need to follow him around for the day.
I know, it's infectious, right?
It really is.
Energy. It really
don't want to regret not having loved enough, or given enough, or served enough, or experienced yourself, giving yourself to the world, for sure.
I think that regret is probably one of the most toxic emotions we can ever experience. Regret is an act of abuse against ourselves. It really is, because it means that we're not living at our fullest potential. So to me, I just never want to experience regret.
I love that.
Nope. And so it is.
Yeah, it is.
So tell people where they can find you, follow you, get involved with your companies.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram, and that's at MJ Harris Speaks. That's at MJ Harris Speaks. And I also want to give your audience something special. I've got a webinar called How to Find Your Purpose and Make Money Doing What You Love. If you don't want to find your purpose, or you don't want to make money doing what you love, this ain't for you. But if that sounds like you, honey, I got something for you. All you have to do is go to www.freepurposewebinar.com. That's freepurposewebinar.com.
Done and done.
Thank you, MJ, so much.
Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more Good Morning La La Land.
We are the Musketeers, and we proudly wear our ears. We mousin', we be mousin', MICKEY, Club Mickey Mouse. Good morning, La La Land.
What a day. I feel so inspired. I mean, I literally feel wealthier just as a result of being in the company of you, MJ, and you, Spicy Mara. So I want to thank you both for joining us on this Wealth Wednesday. And I suppose the question of the day is, what's the one tip you have for people around creating a truly wealthy life for themselves?
If I can give any spicy tip, it would be stop making decisions based off of fear. Fear will have you choose the wrong partner, choose the wrong career, operate from a place of trusting yourself and asking the universe for what you want and then putting it into action.
Love that. Can I ask one quick follow-up?
Yep.
What's the #1 way for you to overcome the fear?
So you have to challenge yourself. You have to actually put positive thoughts in your head to replace those negative ones, even if it's telling yourself those affirmations. And then you have to practice doing what you ask for, even if it's a baby step. Even if it's a small little, okay, I have a fear of water. Okay, so I'm gonna just, stick my little toe in, then I'm gonna stick my foot in, then I'm gonna stick, half of my body in, then I'm gonna dunk myself.
The action does trick here, doesn't it? Yeah, love that.
Sure.
What about you, MJ?
I would say my tip is to know that what you deserve. And if you can remember no other affirmation for yourself to say in the tough times, when life is beating you down, when opportunity seems just within your reach, but you just can't seem to touch it, just remember that what I desire is what I deserve. Because I always say that your desires really are the voice of God, the universe, however you want to view it, speaking into you what your future can be. And it's up to you to then take that seed and walk it out into making it a reality.
I feel like you were a preacher in a
I know, right?
I mean that in the most positive way.
Really. So when I got to college, so like I said, I got a literary agent. The book didn't get signed. When I got to college, I found a ministry, and I was like, oh, they're looking for a receptionist. I went there for the job as a receptionist. They heard this voice, and the gentleman said, we're looking to start a citywide ministry for students in Philadelphia. Would you be interested in leading it? I said, I've only done offertory prayer at church. I don't know anything about preaching, but I started doing that, and that's what got me into speaking.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It's completely, I love it. It was flow. It was flow.
But that's, I think, what we're doing. I don't think that people are moving away from traditional church and it's going into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I mean, we hear amazing people like you that they're living in faith and they're taking it into their business, and I think that's where it's going. That's
Absolutely.
the future of preachers.
I think that what I always tell people is I say, this is my ministry. Ministry doesn't have to be in church. Ministry is anything that you can do that can touch the lives of others. Your ministry is creating loving relationships. Your ministry is making sure that people are filled with positivity every single day. This is all our ministry.
Absolutely.
We're having fellowship right now.
Yes, we are.
It's so
true.
Any mentors or books that you would recommend to other people that have really inspired you?
I would say if you haven't read The 5 Love Languages, please read that. One of my favorites right now is Attached. That's life-changing. And then also Ask and It Is Given.
Oh,
yes,
Love
for
Abraham
sure.
Hicks.
You know, it's funny because I've been thinking about the 5 love languages. I think I'm all of them. I don't think it's like.
And a lot of us have, a lot of those needs. However, there's one that outranks the most, and then it can go in, order after that. But I'm sure I have a little bit of all of them. I love gifts, quality time, affirmations.
I would say for me, it's the first book I learned to read. So I have a learning disability, and I was very slow to reading. My grandmother, who's really into positive thinking, started giving me books to read that she knew would kind of touch something within me. She saw something in me. And it was The Power of Positive Thinking.
Norman Vincent Peale.
Yeah.
Just amazing book, because it set my mindset in the direction of knowing that I could create the life that I desired. And it started within the thoughts that I put within my subconscious.
Wow. So how did your benefit you? Because that's one of the things I've discovered, whether it's clients or friends, that everyone who has a learning disability, they happen to have also this particular genius, that's unrealized for most people, but for them they found a way to tap into. What's the genius or the advantage you discovered through your learning disability?
Well, I'll tell you that because, reading and math were very much so a challenge for me initially. What I did was I ended up overdeveloping as a speaker. It's almost like someone who's blind, they may have heightened sense of smell. So my ability to speak overdeveloped, because I had to be able to speak very well to be able to communicate that I understand the lesson, don't fail me. It made me an amazing speaker.
Yeah, I love it.
The universal mantra of the year is speak your truth.
Speak your truth.
That is.
Yes.
So thank you both for speaking your truth today. We are Good Morning La La Land, America's first live streaming daily talk show, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. And you can catch all these interviews available as a podcast on iTunes.
That's right. We're waking up the world together. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and follow these amazing, on brand, on point, on purpose. Have a great day.
It's going to be a Good Morning La La Land.